Hello everybody, welcome in. It's Laura from Tenacious Taurus Twin Flame Tarot, and this is going to be a video on how to handle Mercury retrograde energy. So this is your personal twin flame guide to Mercury retrograde. Everybody fears the Mercury retrograde. It's likely to bring confusion, misunderstandings. We all hear about the dreaded exes returning from the past during Mercury retrograde. It's basically the past resurfacing. What does that mean for the twin flame connection though? So I feel a lot of the twins are having to deal with unresolved relationships from the past, and all of these old karmic contracts kind of have to be cleared out in order to restore the unity within these twin flame connections. So, you know, challenges really are a divine gift. So, you know, Mercury retrograde, this is where, you know, everything kind of comes back around to be dealt with. And retrograde energy with Mercury happens 3 to 5 times a year. So the retrograde energy is always going to be dependent on the sign that Mercury is in. And so right now, Mercury is in Virgo. It's going into Libra in a couple of days. It will start its retrograde in Libra, which is all about balanced relationships, right? And it will finish its retrograde back in Virgo. So we all hear about the infamous Mercury retrograde energies. You see it all over social media. And so there are very specific themes that come up, though, for those on the twin flame journey. There are specific challenges as like spiritual tests when we reach a Mercury retrograde. And there's always a hidden gift that shows up during every Mercury retrograde, whether it's something you didn't notice yet or something you noticed already. But what I wanted to do today is kind of share how to make the best out of this Mercury retrograde. I've gone through several retrogrades on my conscious awareness journey. And so this really is a time for a lot of misunderstandings. Any old unresolved arguments or issues are resurfacing. Any forgetfulness, delays, you know, we're going to be dealing with delays. We're going to be dealing with cancellations, canceled engagements, canceled arrangements. And so usually for those on the twin flame journey, it will involve old lovers or karmic exes showing up, likely out of the blue, trying to cause static and complications. I've already encountered this on my journey. My youngest daughter's father, my karmic ex-partner, already started trying to pull those triggers with me last Friday morning. Come at me very aggressive, still in very narcissistic energy, still projecting, still deflecting, and playing the blame game. And so it was a very quick, heck no. I put those firm boundaries back in place and kiboshed that, because you're going to come correct or you ain't going to come at all. And so I feel a lot of us are being asked to really figure out where we've been struggling with boundaries is a big lesson when these ex-karmic partners keep returning. And so during the weeks of Mercury retrograde, many of us will struggle, right? Because it's forcing us to embrace these energy shifts. And it can be very chaotic, very unclear, very muddled and foggy when it comes to how to deal with these implications, complications, and X's out of the blue showing up for resolution. And so I thought I would share with you some of my insights, some tips that I've used on the journey, and some advice on how to make the best of this Mercury retrograde, and how to find like the hidden blessings, and how to tap into that, you know, soul growth, that soul wisdom that really retrograde energies try to bring forward. So really what's happening with any retrograde is like a recalibration, right? A recalibration is happening, so it's really nothing to panic about. It's where we go into deeper spiritual truths. We go into a deeper sense of our spiritual purpose. And that's kind of what's really going on with the recalibration process. So it's really a time of reflection, reevaluation, especially when it comes to our communication skills, our thought processing, our higher thought. It does rule short distance travel. New ideas will likely come forward, and this is both at an individual and at a collective level. So What I feel the most with Mercury retrogrades, we go through throat chakra purges, we go through throat chakra upgrades and throat chakra activations, and that's really what's happening. And so communication can get quite aggressive, right, during retrogrades, because people just want to blast people for leaving them hanging, not learning these lessons, and we're not here to teach anybody a lesson, let me just say that. So it really is a gift of second chances. Like what I wrote is second, third, fourth, or fifth chances. And I did a video way back. I know if you're watching, Kate, you and I had a little mini conversation about this. I'm all for second chances, but when you're going on the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth chance, I think it's a really good time to reevaluate how many freaking chances does somebody get, right? I'm all for second chances. And so there's a lot being activated with the throat chakra, right? And this is where I feel many on the journey are being asked to use their words like grown-ups and instill those firm boundaries, right? It doesn't have to be chaos and conflict. And so it's really this beautiful period of time where we reevaluate, we rethink, we can relearn something, we can rediscover something, we can relax. We can reconnect with our higher self. We can reconnect with our counterpart, and we can reconceptualize and rehash all of these things, right? Retro, recalibrate and double check. And so we are given the gift of a second chance in some way. And so for my journey over the last 3.5 years, I think the karma I'm waiting to balance is with my karmic ex-partner. Every Mercury retrograde, not right at the retrograde, but like a day or two right prior to the pre-shadow phase, this man comes coming banging on my door or texting or something, and he still hasn't gotten the clue that you got to come with some positivity. You can't just come blasting negativity and projection right out the gate, right? So definitely a reevaluation. He's not learned his lesson, and that's what I felt. I went into complete and total soul shock because I was like, why? It's been months and months and months. You don't get to go 6 months, ghost us, the children, and then come at me asking me, do I still have a phone? Well, of course. It was like a gaslighting beginning, right? Just right out the gate with some gaslighting and some mental mind fuckery, and I kiboshed that right out the gate. And so there's no second chance there, right? And I'm like, how many chances I've given this man? Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 10th chances, right? And so I feel it's going to be really hard when it comes to instilling those boundaries, right? If we're going to head in the direction we truly want to, we have to kibosh all of these exes coming back that are, I don't know what they're doing, testing us, trying to trigger us. But I feel it's like, have you mastered that lesson yet, right? And that's what retrogrades are about. Mastering the past, mastering the lessons, rising above, not, aggressively going at these exes, right? It's about instilling that firm, loving boundary. This is what I will tolerate. This is what I will not tolerate. If you're not willing to meet me in the middle, then I guess you got to go, right? So I feel we're all being asked to be kind to ourselves during this retrograde. I feel this big collective slowdown, to be honest, because, we're going to have all of the generational ancestral outer planets in retrograde. And so retrogrades are about slowing down. So you're going to be feeling maybe like you're walking through some mucky energy. But if you slow down and you can recognize the gift that this retrograde is trying to bring forward when it comes to minimizing these issues, minimizing these problems, finding resolution, then you likely won't face very many challenges during this Mercury retrograde. Because in truth, we can live a blissful life any given time. It doesn't matter what planets are doing what when we align, right, to our own truth and our own energy. And so it's like learning how to approach communication a little bit differently, flowing with the energy currents, right? It's like a wave. And I've been really drawn to that song Waves lately, is what it's called, Waves. I don't even know who sings it. Mr. Probes, I think. I'm not sure. But the waves energy, right? And so there might be different themes coming up different energies being purged as part of this recalibration, all depending on the inner work that you've already done and where you're at on the journey, because we are all on our own unique timeline. And so what usually tends to happen during retrogrades is duality, right? The twins are masters of duality. We've got the positive, we've got the negative, we've got oppositions, and we're here to harness non-duality, right? When we reach a place of zero polarity internally, then we're not living in a dualistic world anymore, right? Right versus wrong, black versus white. And so mastering duality. So it's this energy of like the cauldron, the shit pot being stirred up, which can bring all this confusing, muddled, unclear thinking, because Mercury is all about the mind, communication. And so this is where perceptions kind of get clouded. And it happens to the best of us, right? Especially those that are aware of the energies. And so communication is going to be tricky for sure. Disagreements are likely. You might find, issues with technology, travel plans going awry. Things just are not going to run smoothly. Every Mercury retrograde, my car acts up. My car will act up, and I can tell if the energy is like frazzled, my car won't start. And so I'll have to go and I'll have to ground the energy, clear the energy, and then it'll go start. And I got 2 different keys to start the car. It only does it during Mercury retrograde. So, little annoyances trying to push you over the edge, right? And so this is where we're pushed into these higher reconsiderations when it comes to the past, right? Because ultimately, forgiveness, unconditional love for all of creation, right? And so every past partnership taught you something about who you are to get you to where you're at now. So do keep that in mind. So it's all about relationships, pushing past these relationship differences, reconsidering the past, and trying to look at things differently, thinking differently. Mercury retrograde offers us an opportunity to break free from that 8 of Swords prison cell of, all of these distorted program beliefs from childhood. And so it's shifting our approaches when it comes to reaching resolution. And so there's always a pre-shadow phase, there's the retrograde, and then there's the post-shadow. And so all of these will last, a couple of weeks each. And so things are going to be cloudy, things are going to be stirred up energetically in the collective, and this is where things tend to go wrong. This is where, those breakups are going to come full circle. If, you find yourself in a karmic connection that is needing to close out, likely it's going to end during a retrograde because we're reevaluating. This maybe just isn't for me, right? And so whatever happens during a retrograde, it's likely related to dealing with this inner work, addressing our own inner distorted patterns within relationships. Our attachment issues are being shown to us, and the past does keep coming back until the past is fully dealt with, right? And the past is always going to haunt us if we haven't reached a place of resolution internally in our own inner transformation. And so we're being asked to deal with these issues during a retrograde. We're being asked to clear them in order to open up the pathway towards unity consciousness. And so we're going backwards. We're going back over our tracks. We're going to have to deal with where our life's been a train wreck and gone way off track. And we're going to have to clean up the past. Is kind of what retrograde energy is about, especially on the twin flame journey. And this is likely when a change of heart or a change of mind will take place, right? Everything is shifting. And so this is why I always say don't go into making those big decisions during a Mercury retrograde, because you're quite often going to find yourself wishing that you never went back or wishing that you didn't make that choice. And when the retrograde is over, you're going to be kicking yourself in the ass saying, why did I go back to that karmic partner? I knew it was time to walk away. And so you don't want to make big, major life decisions. You really don't want to enter into a new soul agreement during retrogrades. It's all about reviewal, rearranging the energies, looking at things differently, and having those very difficult, honest, open conversations. And so it's really not time for forward motion because we're going backwards, right? And so It's a lot about going within too and clearing your negative mindsets as well during a retrograde. And you do need to understand, like, not everybody's going to have an ex show up, but what happens if an ex shows up, right? And for me, it's a common occurrence. Every Mercury retrograde, I got to deal with this ex from the past. That was always my biggest block to my counterpart, right? And so it's about standing up for yourself, understanding the lesson. Why does this similar lesson keep coming back? What is this dynamic between us? And why does this person from the past have to keep showing up? What does this mean? And it's a message from the universe. Something here needs to be learned. The lesson hasn't been learned. And when I went into soul shock, that was a clear indication he's not learned his lesson. So we're going to run into things that we've missed, things we're being afforded an opportunity to look at again, to appeal, to remember, to course correct. And so if an ex from the past comes back around this Mercury retrograde, which is likely, anybody from the past can reappear. Anybody from your past can reappear in your life. But I feel it's a nudge from the universe. This needs to be tied up. Where are you still holding on to loose ends that need to be tied up? Or maybe there's some cords that still need to be cut when it comes to them being a part of your life. Or it's the universe coming in and saying, hey, wake up. You deserve better than this, right? It's a reminder that you deserve better. Did you pass the test? Do you know your worth? Do you know your value? Are you really going to go back to somebody that didn't value you? It's a test to show you how far you've come when it comes to building your confidence and knowing your worth and your value and instilling those boundaries, right? It could also be like a reminder to make an effort to step into your highest potential, right? Really aligning with releasing instead of repeating these old lower timelines, these old lower cycles that we're here to fully close out. And it could be there to show you maybe that you shouldn't give up on someone that you know was truly guided to be in your life, right? When it comes to these twin soul connections. And so the universe is going to keep bringing this energy back so you can reconsider and maybe even open up to receiving. So I feel a lot of the divine masculines are being haunted by the past right now. I feel there's a lot of signs and synchronicities haunting the divine masculine. I think your name is coming up around, you know, people that they're connected with, or you're showing up all over social media, or you're just constantly in their energy field. And so we need to be aware in order to like see the signs and the things, right? The messages that Spirit's bringing forward too. And so anything that causes you irritation or frustration is there to show you that there's some unresolved issues that kind of need to be addressed. And so any unresolved arguments, anything that, you know, has been buried in the background that keeps resurfacing every Mercury retrograde, it's time to find that resolution, right? This is like the big year for the Great Awakening. And I know it's not fun to deal with these issues, but how can we fully move on into those states of unity consciousness if we cannot move on from the past, right? And we're here to improve all of our relationships in our lives, right? With our family, our friends, one-on-one relationships. And so many, I feel, this Mercury retrograde will be experiencing the return of the counterpart. I think enough clearing has been done during this time, especially if you've not given up on this journey and you've kept going, believing of the return. I feel this is the retrograde where many divine masculines will return, and you're going to be asked to reconsider this love again, the opportunity for this connection again. It's definitely a good time to get clear on what it is you do want. You know, what is it that you want in your life? Take time out to make sure you are aligned with your highest path and your highest truth, because either way, we have to keep moving forward, right? So I think there's going to be some challenges, communication, practicalities, distance, travel. Things are going to get a little bit tricky, especially with technical issues. You might want to like really review any contracts you got to sign, like any big decisions. You might find bookings going wrong. I know I have all kinds of issues with the internet and recordings and stuff during Mercury retrogrades as well. And so, yeah, so I feel we're being asked to really stay grounded, stay rooted, stay calm, stay present and aligned with our own energy. You're really just going to want to double check everything when it comes to fine details, especially with the Virgo energy. We can't only rely on our mind to analyze everything too. So really lean into your intuition this Mercury retrograde. Do not get scared and go into those negative thought, fear-based energies. Do not keep thinking things will not work out. Don't panic just because it's Mercury retrograde, right? Just keep ebbing and flowing with the energies. Don't get drawn into the collective static and stress, because I can easily get pulled right into that collective heaviness and it'll feel like you're drowning. So know which energies are yours and which are not, and do those clearings to detach from the collective, and do not let your thoughts go wild, okay? You are in control of your thoughts. They are not in control of you. Do not get caught up in any drama or get dragged down into any negative perceptions. Just be aware, right? Be aware and try your best not to project negativity towards your twin or towards anybody, because not everything is as it seems during a retrograde period. And so we don't want to keep getting pulled back into these old thought patterns, these old forms of communication. And so even though the past is likely returning, we're being asked to release it permanently, right? Permanently. So use this time to really review and to relax, to go through a period of restoration, right? Reflection, a lot of inner reflection, and where do you need to reconcile when it comes to the past in order to rejuvenate and replenish your energies. And so the more you focus on positivity, the easier these energies will be, because, you know, it's likely the runner twin will return during this retrograde, especially if you've cleared all of those chakra blockages, right? And especially if you dealt with all of these negative, repetitive relationship cycles and you got to the root cause. And so you're going to want to just be cool and grounded, especially when it comes to embracing mindful communication. I noticed 22, so we're mastering mindful communication. And do not allow yourself to spiral into a lot of confusion if the collective energy is overwhelming. So be sure to speak your truth, clear that throat chakra, speak that truth, and know that our words do create worlds. Spelling, spell casting, pay attention to your dreams. I do encourage you to keep a dream journal on the nightstand, because there's a lot of subconscious activations and memories coming up when it comes to these blockages that are likely showing up for clearing in dream space. So you might want to journal if you remember your vivid dreams like I do. And recognize the karmic patterns that are showing up. It's like the final countdown, the final showdown. Recognize why they're there. Recognize what needs to be released, and be open to releasing these old ways. You know, we have to be open to releasing. And so be ready to forgive. To forgive is another big thing. So that was just some little tips that I have for you. I know Mercury retrograde can be highly debated on, but I do feel whatever resurfaces this Mercury retrograde really is that final stretch for these divine unions. So get ready for anything is kind of what I got. So I really do hope this helped, guys. I hope this resonated. If you would like to book in for a session with me, check out the description box below, and I look forward to seeing you all again next time. Thank you.